What's up, Cloud Gamers? Welcome back to the Cloud Gaming Extreme channel. We're going to be taking a look at The Witcher 3 next gen here after the newest patch as of the time of making this video, which does help with some performance. And we'll take a look at ray tracing mostly, but also we'll take a look at some higher FPS gameplay as well. As far as settings, we're full screen 1440p with 120 FPS. And NVIDIA Reflex is off for now, but you could take that on if you wanted to. All of the ray tracing goodies are turned on here. DLSS is on quality to start with. And then we have motion blur and all these things turned off except for light shafts and camera lens effects, with Ultra on everything else and no hair works. Now, as we get into this, we'll take a look at our stats over here with Control N, and you can see for our 1440p 120, we're using a great bandwidth here on my internet connection. Everything's working fine here for GFN, and we're going to hover in this area around 60 FPS when it comes to ray tracing on, but in most areas of the game, you're going to be much lower than that if you have RT on. Now let's go ahead and switch over and take a look at some other DLSS options here. So we're on quality now. Let's switch over to balanced. And with balanced, you won't lose as much visual quality as when we get into performance or ultra performance, but you don't gain a lot of FPS either. But that's going to be the case no matter what. This isn't a game that gains you a lot of FPS with DLSS. Ray tracing is very difficult to run. Switching over to performance is where you'll start to really notice the loss of details in the water and the other surroundings without enough gain to really necessarily worry about it, depending on where you are in the game. Ultra performance, again, you'll lose a little bit more of that quality as you go, and you won't gain a lot of FPS either. Now let's go ahead and switch over and take a look at no anti-aliasing or upscaling at all, which is never really recommended for this game. It looks pretty rough, especially depending on where you're at, but no major difference in performance, so DLSS is of course the way to go. Now when you get into the game, you're going to experience all different kinds of frame rates, but one good thing they've done recently with the newest patch so far is smooth out some of the frame times and stutter. It's not all gone and fixed, but at least that way, with the lower FPS gameplay with ray tracing on, it's not quite as bad as it was when the next gen update first launched. It is a little bit better now, but it does still need a lot more work overall. Getting into combat feels a little bit better now than it did day one as well with the upgrade, because again, they did smooth out some of those frame times and frame pacing issues. So even though we bounce here in the 40s and 50s for our FPS, it doesn't feel too bad even in combat or getting around. It works pretty well here. Now, if we want to go ahead and switch over to something else, like high, I'll do that in just a second. But I do want to show, as we come up on this little village here, you'll see more of that FPS drop I'm talking about. When you get into other areas of this game with the bigger cities, more NPCs and stuff like that, you are going to drop more in the low 30s at least with ray tracing. Popping over here to high with ray tracing, you're not going to gain a lot either. Like I said, if you're running ray tracing in this game, you're pretty much going to be getting hit with lower FPS gameplay, which is fine. It looks gorgeous. But what about higher FPS gameplay? Well, we're going to turn off ray tracing completely, be on ultra settings with DLSS here on quality, and we're going to have a much higher frame rate where you can take more advantage of your RTX 3080's 120 FPS streaming on 1440p here, which is something I really like to do. I really enjoy how the game looks with ray tracing as well though, but it's kind of hard to beat the smooth gameplay when you're playing over 60 FPS, pushing 100 FPS, and if you want to really tweak those settings, get even higher than that, and the game runs excellent. So it's kind of going to depend on how you want to run the game, if you're going to push more towards visuals and lower FPS, or more towards the higher FPS gameplay, but still with a fantastic looking game. But anyways, however you decide to play Witcher 3, guys, I hope you're enjoying the game either for the first time or again. Thanks a lot for coming and check out the video as always, and I'll see you guys in the next one.